You're live, MJ.
Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, AJ.
Hi, how are you guys?
Joining, doing wonderful. I hope you're doing the same.
Yep.
All right. Hello, hello. Let's dive into it. So, smart med spa owners do not just look at their numbers, they are leveraging their numbers to predict, to pivot, and to outperform their competition. And that's what today's coaching call is all about: predictive power play and unlocking hidden revenue with data insights. Today's coaching call is going to give you tactical tools to analyze your P&L and forecast proactively, plug any revenue leaks from low profit services, and to scale using predictive team KPIs. We need to move out of, operating out of reaction and into strategy. So let's start with financial forecasting with my favorite, I love it so much, your P&L. Your P&L is your profit playbook. And most practices are waiting for their accountant to tell them what they made last quarter. We are completely flipping that. I need you to be proactive and not reactive. If you are a client of mine, you are probably giggling to yourself right now because you know you will be getting a reminder email from me on Friday to send me your May P&L. You know that I have you covered, but also I want to teach you how to fish. I will analyze your P&L, but I want to teach you how to fish so that you can also do it yourself and feel empowered with your data. So each month, as a baseline, I need you to review your service line profit margins. What percent of your total revenue is each treatment producing? What are your true costs? Labor, supplies, time. What are your high volume and low margin traps? What are your fixed versus variable expense trends? Are your ad costs or payroll creeping up on you? Are product costs growing faster than revenue? I need you to analyze that data at baseline. Using that data, I need you to cut, reprice, or repackage your bottom 20% of services that have really high overhead and low repeat rates. I want to share a story on how I used just those baseline items to analyze a client's P&L last month, and we made a predictive power play using that data. So when analyzing their P&L, it was very clear to me that Cool Sculpting was their squeaky wheel. It was that bottom 20%. We were getting bookings, but the ROI just wasn't there. So using the data in that P&L, I reduced their Cool Sculpting package discounting price, adjusted single session pricing based on time, based on ROI, and we also added a $149 a month body membership, increasing that margin on that line by up to 14%. Now, if you've heard me talk about memberships in the past, you may be thinking to yourself, MJ, I thought you didn't like service-specific memberships. Well, you would be right. I do not. But when the data is telling me it is worth it, you pivot using that data. We need to think strategically using this data insight to unlock really that hidden revenue. Now, we've talked about your P&L. We've talked about the baseline of how to appropriately analyze your P&L to get the most revenue back in your pocket. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit and discuss another area of hidden revenue that you can unlock. Inventory. Inventory velocity and cash recovery is very, very, very important as a med spa owner. Inventory is your silent cash flow. It's either working for you or it is working against you. So I want you to run a 90-day SKU velocity report. I'm going to say that again. Run a 90-day SKU velocity report. How many units were purchased? How many units were sold? How many weeks on hand per product? How many weeks were they just sitting there? What is overstocked and what is underperforming? It is a major red flag when I go in and I start doing some random audits with inventory with my clients and I see any item with 8 weeks or more on hand. That is dead money that is just sitting in the water. Now, a tactical move, I want you to build a limited time VIP drop. Now, it's really important to understand. Let's talk about the summer lull, okay? I don't subscribe to that. We are using data to get ahead of that. So a way to do that when looking at your inventory velocity, let's develop a summer skin reset kit. And we're going to use the data that our inventory is sharing with us using overstock. And we're going to bonus or add value, add a facial, anything that's low consumable for you, and target your members, target your qualified buyers, or send a text only promotion pulling a report of your top 2,000 spenders or anyone who's spent over $2,000, and target them with anything that adds value without discounting. And let's do some appointment booking incentives there. Okay. I want to give you a real world client win. Okay, one med spa turned almost $7,000 in dusty back bar inventory that they were just keeping on hand for a rainy day. Maybe somebody picks it up every once in a while. They wanted it to diversify what they had to offer, but in reality, it's just sitting there dusty. We turned that dusty inventory into a 48-hour insider kit drop, and it cleared with 27 kits sold immediately. We talk about this a lot on our coaching calls. Sometimes you just need to give something a sexy name, kind of rebrand it in your practice for a moment. These are items or services that anyone has access to at any time. Sometimes you need to give it that sexy name to kind of reignite some excitement around it. And in this case, it's the Summer Skin Reset Kit. I also want you to build your predictive KPI dashboard. Now, I want to make this very clear. You cannot scale what you do not measure. Okay, you're flying blind. You cannot scale with what you are not measuring. KPIs are your daily leading indicators for profit forecasting. I tell my clients all the time, or practice owners everywhere that I talk to, your KPIs will paint an entire picture of your practice for me, especially when you're tracking for the practice as a whole, as well as individual providers and your front desk. So weekly, I want you to be tracking your utilization rate, your rebooking rate, total revenue, retail revenue, number of memberships sold, and packages sold. That is just a baseline. There are some other metrics in there that we want to track monthly, but weekly, I need you to at least hit utilization rate, rebooking rate, total revenue coming in, retail revenue, number of memberships sold, and packages sold. A tactical move that I want to share with you that I believe is so incredibly impactful. I want you to host a weekly 15-minute KPI huddle with your team where we are talking direct goals and where we're falling in those goals. I want you to highlight and celebrate your top performers. I want you to celebrate your highest metrics that you're achieving. Are you exceeding those goals? And really highlight those. I also want you to pick one area to improve. When you are doing this weekly, everyone is staying on top of what their goals are. They are not flying blind. They are measuring exactly where they need to be and where they are currently sitting in order to exceed those goals. A perfect example of this, after tracking these for 60 days, a client of mine tied team bonuses directly to their KPI growth. Not just flat revenue, KPI growth. Are they hitting their goals? This one little tweak alone boosted their average ticket by up to $92 and raised monthly profits by 11%. That is huge. That's one simple tweak that gets them, your providers have skin in the game at that point. So we decided to shift and tie their team bonuses to KPI growth. Are they hitting these goals and not just flat revenue? And when you're doing these weekly 15-minute KPI huddles with your team, we're keeping them informed. They understand where they're at. If you are a practice owner that doesn't feel comfortable sharing, true KPIs with your team, I really think that you should. But if you are someone who just does not want to go that route, then give them at least a percentage. Katie, you're 80% to your goal. Here's the tools in your toolbox. Here's what you have coming up on the calendar. So that way you can close that gap and exceed your goal. Giving them these tied bonuses to this KPI growth, like I said, gives them major skin in the game and your outcome is tremendous. Circling back a little bit, we talked about how we are not subscribing to the summer slump. We are using data to prevent the summer slump. Okay. May through August, I'm hearing it all the time with my clients. It's just really slow, but this is normal for this time of year. Okay, my first question to you is, how are we staying ahead of that? What data are we using so that way we're not subscribing to summer is always slow? And their reaction is usually, I guess I don't have any data. So that's the first thing that we dive into. You have got to be intentional with staying ahead of this curve. Again, we're not subscribing to the summer slump. We're using this data to make predictive power plays to get ahead of that. So some action steps that I want you to take so that way you can make these predictive power plays and get ahead of the summer slump. I want you to pull May through August revenue for the last 2 years, at least the last 2 years. I want you to calculate the exact percentage drop for each month in all of the different KPIs that we just talked about: service, retail, everything. And I want you to set a summer revenue protection goal based on just last year's drop alone. So we're taking on average the last 2 years, what was the percentage of the drop? And I want you to set a summer revenue protection goal based on just last year's drop alone. How are we going to use that information to help us? I want you to create a summer skin plan, essentially, that's a VIP pre-sale. Okay, so what does that summer skin plan look like? This is going to be, for example, maybe a 3-month bundle where we're bonusing a facial, LED lights, maybe IV therapy, and we are going to limit the enrollment. You hear me talk about this on coaching calls all the time. Patients want what they feel like is exclusive, what is limited time only, limited availability. We are only accepting 30 members for this summer skin plan, this VIP pre-sale. So we're going to limit enrollment for this 3-month bundle. We're bonusing a facial, bonusing LED lights, bonusing IVs, and we're using it as an early revenue boost for June and July. That's a perfect example of a summer revenue protection goal based on that data that we just pulled. Now, if you want to go a step farther and kind of lean on the advice that I gave you earlier, we're pulling all those KPIs, we're pulling all those reports. What's your biggest dip? How are we going to put these things together? What's that dusty inventory? And make that as a part of your summer reset plan and your summer skin plan and bundle them together. The summer skin reset plan is essentially that 3-month bundle where you're bonusing some facials, LED lights, IVs, we're limiting enrollment. And then that summer skin reset kit can be the inventory or the post-care medical grade skincare that we're going to bundle it in together. Now we've just doubled our revenue stream and we've just doubled our summer revenue protection goal. So an example of some messaging. So it could sound a little bit like this. Book your 3-month summer skin plan by May 1st or June 1st or whatever date you decide and receive a $75 product gift and priority scheduling all summer long. We are incentivizing for booking appointments this summer. We want to get butts in seats. A major client win of mine. One of my clients pre-sold $15,000 in a summer skin package in just 3 weeks, and that plugged the projected June dip entirely. So that revenue dip that she is usually seeing based on that 2-year pull of data, that $15,000 alone plugged that gap. And this is, again, you guys, all things that are just sitting in your practice right now that just are not moving, and you're walking by it every day, whether it's inventory, you're seeing it on your service menu every day, but we are not using our data for us. We are not collecting this data and making these predictive power plays with this insight. So let me just kind of repeat that for one moment. They pulled reports in June that one summer skin package plugged that entire dip, and now she's completely fine. So shifting gears a little bit here, if we're still talking about plugging in these revenue dips, using this data to kind of unlock this hidden revenue, I'm going to give you another example of how you can do that. I want you to launch a scalable VIP funnel, okay? I'm going to give you a little secret. Don't treat all of your patients the same, okay? And I know that might be blowing your mind right now. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to not treat all of your patients the same. I want you to run a top spenders report. I want you to pull a 6-month or a 12-month spend report out of your EMR and segment the top 10%. These are going to be your high lifetime value patients. And I want you to identify, what do they all have in common? What are they buying the most of? How often are they visiting? And I want you to upgrade their potential. I want you to upgrade them, and I want you to target them. I want you to target them by creating a personalized VIP invitation. So I want you to script personalized text, emails, or even better, phone calls for this top, high lifetime value clients that we're targeting. Make the offer feel very exclusive and not promotional. Remember, patients want what they feel like is limited. Here's a script example that you could use. Hi, Brenda. I wanted to personally thank you for being one of our top clients this year. I've created a summer VIP experience exclusively for our top clients. It includes first dibs on booking, 2 complimentary upgrades, and 3 private event invites for this summer alone. I only have 10 of these available. Let's walk you through how you can sign up today. So we're creating that urgency. There's only 10 spots available for this summer VIP experience. We're hosting events this summer and they're private event invites. She's getting 2 complimentary upgrades. She gets priority booking all summer. This is exclusive for her. I'd love for you to do this in a phone call to add that white glove service that you hear me talk a lot about. We want to personalize these conversations. Chances are Brenda has been in with you for years. Brenda is probably loving that something was created specifically for her and there's only 10 spots available. This is that concierge-like offer, okay? I don't want you to sell a discount. I want you to sell access. I want you to sell exclusivity. So another example of this could be Glow All Summer, okay? Glow All Summer, that could be a plan with 3 custom facials, LED light, free dermaplane, skincare gifts from your reps, and concierge booking support. So maybe right now they're booking online, maybe they're calling to book, maybe you're doing a concierge booking support where your front desk is setting reminders to call top patients to book at times that work best for them. This is concierge booking support. It feels very exclusive. This is selling access. It's not selling a discount. Okay. So that example is Glow All Summer. Okay. And we're adding very low consumable things and we're personalizing it to those top spenders. Another tactic to kind of hone in on that is I want you to transition to a VIP membership. So once they opt in to the summer package, upsell to your full year VIP top tier membership. Emphasize the savings that they get on that tier. Emphasize the priority access and emphasize the member only experience. Okay. Every metric tells a story. You are not just running a med spa. You are building data. You're really building like a data-led empire. So I want to challenge you. We're almost to the end of the month. I want you to pull your last 3 months of P&Ls. I want you to use the tools and the tips that I gave you today and analyze just those baseline metrics. Just take a look at that baseline. What's your low 20% services? What can we do? I want you to cross-reference your top 3 services with labor, cost, and KPI data. And I want you to choose one service that you want to optimize, whether that's repackaging or essentially drop. And I want you to do this using the predictive power play process. Not knowing your data is hurting you, I can assure you. Again, smart practice owners, they're not just looking at their numbers, they are leveraging them. You're leveraging this data so that way you can predict, pivot, and outperform your competition. And if you don't know, if these numbers are overwhelming to you, I really hope that this coaching call gave you like tactical tools so that way you can analyze your P&L and forecast that proactively. We're not reacting anymore out of panic. We're not reacting because summer is around the corner. We're using this data insight to make these predictive power plays. We're plugging revenue leaks from low profit services. We're scaling with predictive team KPIs. We're looping our teams with these 15-minute KPI conversations that we're having weekly with them. We're looping them into these goals. Everyone has skin in the game. We're tweaking our bonuses to be tied to those team KPI goals. Again, we are not reacting anymore to summer. We're not reacting anymore to numbers. We are diving into strategy. I'd love to answer any questions that you guys have here. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Genevieve. Hi, Becky. Hi, Desiree. Any questions you have on how to use this data for you, how not to react or panic when data is scary? Any questions that you have, drop them in the chat and I would love to help. Also, if you are still lost on how to analyze your P&L, drop a fire emoji in the chat and I would love to help. Hi, Varman. Hi, Morgan. Thank you so much for joining. All right, here's a question here. What is your biggest mistake you're seeing your clients make when analyzing their P&L? That's a great question. The biggest mistake that I'm seeing practice owners make across the country when analyzing their P&L is not analyzing it parallel to your KPIs. Yes, is your P&L important to understand your overall profit and loss? 100%. But if you are not analyzing that alongside your KPI tracker and understanding those metrics and using that data together to really give you a comprehensive picture of your practice, what's coming in, what's coming out, what's your rebooking rate, what's your utilization rate, you're not getting the full picture. So to answer your question, the biggest mistake that I'm seeing clients make is just analyzing their P&L alone. Maybe they're doing it on a month-to-month basis, not analyzing their KPI tracker along with it. You have got to have both. It's almost like having a book with only one side or one page and not knowing what the end is. You have to have that well-rounded information. Great question. Any other questions about data, predictive power play, using data-driven insights? Any questions that I can help you guys? Again, we're not subscribing to that summer slump. We are using this data to get ahead of it. So if you feel like you haven't collected that data just yet, drop a comment in the chat here and I can kind of help you use that data to make these power play moves to get around that. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Oh, one more question here. Glamify, brand new. Amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining today's coaching call. I hope that this was incredibly insightful for you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. If you need help analyzing your P&L and you want to get started right away to use this data to get ahead of the curve, reach out and we would be happy to help. You can catch us here every Wednesday, same time, same place, LinkedIn, Instagram, on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining and have a wonderful week.